You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're going to be talking about identifying your purpose from your past. We all have that past, right? It might be a crisis that we've gone through, abuse, our own failing at something, or just heartbreak. Nobody escapes getting bruised from time to time. But when you fall down, when something doesn't go as planned, you can learn from that and actually turn that into a purpose. That purpose may be a career, it may be a hobby, but it's really just harnessing what are the lessons that we can retain from the past and how can we take those into paying it forward in a purposeful way. So stay with us. We're going to be talking about that, and you're welcome to call in. I'm standing by. That number is 800-333-0001. Also, in our next segment, we're going to have our inspirational guest, Tiffany Ketterman. She's going to talk about how she overcame 2 relationships of domestic violence and really learned the patterns of a narcissist and how that can turn into abuse. So stay with us on that. Also, if you want to hear today's show again, I just empower you to go to livingfullout.com. All of our episodes are waiting there for you. Or, sometimes we get people that write in saying, hey, where can I hear your show if I'm at the gym? Well, we actually have a 24-hour Living Full Out station. You can hear shows back to back. And you can also access that from the website. And of course, you can go to the App Store to hear our show there as well. Just want to make sure that you're always supported day in, day out. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out show.
Hi, my name is Hannah. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you for calling in. How can I help you today?
Well, lately I'm in just a season of life in which I feel like I'm constantly looking in the future, and I'm really struggling to just stay in the present and not be anxious about what's to come, whether it's career, relationship, friendship, overall. Like, how do I stay more present and grounded and not allow that to affect my future?
Great question, right? The best answer to that, just like we're talking about today, identifying your purpose from your past, is to look back in the past. Have you ever been anxious for a test?
Oh, yes.
Right? And in the moment, you're like, oh my gosh, I need more time. And then you're sitting there looking at the test and it looks like a foreign language, right? Yeah, there's that anxiety, but you managed it. You survived it. The test came and went, and here you are today.
Yeah.
And have you ever been in conflict, maybe with a friend or somebody at work or school, and you were in this big debate with your mind, like, how am I going to handle this? Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? And that's heavy on the heart, heavy on the mind, sleepless nights. Mm-hmm. But again, you managed it, you survived it, and here you are today. So you want to look backwards to figure out, what did I do then during those times of anxiety? What were my go-tos? Yeah. Who did I turn to? Now, trust me, back in the day, I used to turn to Mountain Dew. Okay, lots of sugar, right? I try not to do that today, right? So there's going to be good go-tos and maybe not so good go-tos, right? So figure those out. And then the other thing I want to share with you about kind of the anxieties of the future is, what if I gave you the book of Hannah and I said, you know what, Hannah, go ahead and cheat. Read the last page first. Mm-hmm. You might do that, but then would you really be interested in the rest of the book? Because you know how it ends.
No, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So why would you let the anxieties, even the excitement of the future, want to have you read the last page first? You want to say, you know what? No, I don't want to read the last page first, and I'm not going to be over anxious. I'm not going to be, overexcited. I'm just going to turn the page, chapter by chapter, and read my story. Write my story. Do you see that?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. It's a great reminder to have. And, just a season of graduating right now and trying to be excited, but I cross that line of skipping the excitement and just being anxious and nervous. So,
Right. So just enjoy today. Like in your book, what happens in Hannah's life today? And when you go to bed and you wake up tomorrow, you just turn a new page. What happens in Hannah's life tomorrow? And if you go with that, you're going to really enjoy life. It should be an adventure, not something you fear or anxiety about. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. And thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a great day. Thank you for calling in.
All right. You too. Take care.
Thank you. Love that she asked that question, right? Because I think as she turns the pages, she's going to get more and more excited for every day. And when we get excited, the anxiety fades away. We give less power to the what ifs or the worries. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. We'll say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, good morning, Nancy.
Good morning. How can I help you today? What's going on?
Well, my question today was, I was wondering how I can limit my time on social media.
You and like many other people listening, right? There's so many people that are probably listening to the show looking at their phone, right? It's hard.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Do you ever feel like you waste time on social media?
Yes, only most of the time I do it when I'm just have nothing else to do, but I end up wasting time looking at it.
Right. And after you have that feeling where you're like, oh man, I just wasted an hour, I wasted a half an hour, it's kind of a yucky feeling, right?
Yeah.
So we have to sometimes look at it like that. So now social media is just one way in which we, kind of waste time, right? Have you ever sat down on the couch and all of a sudden an hour goes by and you're like, why was I watching this show? I need to be doing something else.
Right. I do it all the time. It's kind of sad.
Right? Exactly. So the reason why I say that is we can't look at social media like this big bad bear, right? Because whether it's social media, whether it's TV, whatever it is, it really comes down to you. The good and the bad of it is it's you. Okay, good news is it's you, bad news is it's you. But what you want to do is give yourself times in the day where you check it and then close out the app. And so if getting reminders on your phone is too tempting, then log out, close it out. And what you're going to find is you're going to be more productive. You're not going to have that yucky feeling. And you can control how often you go and check it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you considered doing that? Because I know those reminders are tempting.
Yeah, those reminders are very tempting, especially for me. Like my phone will buzz or something. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And I'll check it, and next, like you said, an hour goes by. I'm like, oh, geez, what was I doing? I'm like not being productive anymore.
Exactly. So that's why take your power back. Log out. Log in, log out, okay? And that's true for anybody listening because it's the same with emails, right? We hear a bing and we check our email, right? So we have to look at the fact that to really win in life, to achieve anything, and that could be your dream career, that could just be learning how to play the guitar, right? Time is time. And so you want to minimize the ability for anything and anyone to distract you, right? So, if somebody calls, maybe let it go to voicemail, right? You don't have to pick up the phone every time. Log out of your social media. That way you're not tempted by reminders. So again, comes back to the good thing is it's in your hands. The bad thing is it's in your hands. Can you try those? Okay. Can you try managing your time better?
Oh, yeah. I'll definitely take that into advice and start logging out of my social media when I'm not using it.
You got it. Go live full out, but you can only live full out if you manage your time. Consider life like a big old pie, right? One slice of your pie is social media, but it's only one slice of that whole pie. Okay?
Right.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much for calling in.
No, thank you.
Love that he asked that question, right? Because as we talk about identifying your purpose from your past, I have a feeling that when he takes back that power, manages his time, he's now working a new skill that he might even be able to take further into his career or life. So again, that's what it means to live full out. Stay with us. We'll be right back with our inspirational guest, Tiffany Ketterman. It's all about identifying your purpose from your past. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about identifying your purpose from your past. But we have to survive our past, right? We have to learn from it. Well, we always strive to bring you inspirational guests who have done just that. And today we have Tiffany Ketterman. She grew up with, feeling like she didn't have a voice in her family. Then that rolled into various relationships of emotional, physical abuse. But she's here today to share her story and also open our ears and eyes to signs of domestic violence so that you can be protected, get the support that you need. So I'd very much like to welcome Tiffany to the show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you. Happy to have you, Tiffany. I wish it was a better, topic in the sense of, abuse is just yucky. It's yucky that it even exists in the world. But at the same time, you really are a survivor. And so I want to take our audience back a bit. Now, I know that you grew up with 6 children in your family, and some of those other siblings were abusive to you, and some had disabilities and they had their own needs. But really, Tiffany, you grew up really feeling like you didn't have a voice, feeling small. And when you finally had your first relationship, that was kind of foreign to you, right? There was this new person that appeared to have loved you, appeared to care about you. Can you share with us about the dynamics of that?
My first relationship was straight out of high school, and I didn't really know what love looked like. I had grown up in such a chaotic system in my family, not super abusive growing up, but just there were so many of us, and there was disabilities in my family. So I didn't know that I had a voice. I didn't know I had a right to one. And when I fell in love in high school and shortly after high school, I was really struggling with what that even meant, and following a lot of roles like many young women do. We think that our role is caretaker, and that we are to put ourselves in the background and put our partner in the front. And so that's where I started out.
What I know that you had your child at 19, so pretty young in this first relationship. But what was your first sign of abuse, whether it was emotional, physical, where you were like, uh-oh?
Oh, my gosh. So I was with my daughter's dad for about 7 years, and I would say pretty much that entire relationship, I had no sense that I even had a right to a voice. He was with literally hundreds of other women. He was very narcissistic, and back and forth throughout the relationship. Because we had a child, I was holding on to the relationship for that reason. And young, I didn't understand that what he was doing, I had a right to say no, that I had a right to a better life for myself. And it took really towards the end. We broke up and got back together a couple of times, and in the end, he had promised to change, basically, and it became really clear to me that he wasn't going to. And it started to affect me physically. I was having anxiety attacks and not sleeping, and just essentially just so mentally distraught by everything that was going on that I just literally couldn't take it anymore. And I didn't have a choice but to leave in order to take care of myself and my daughter.
Well, and I think, we strive thinking, whether it's an intimate partner or a sibling or a friend, we do think sometimes we can change people, or if we just stand by that person, they will get better. But they don't always get better. It's kind of their flaw, their default. The thing is how did you finally break it off? I know you were off and on again several times, but what was the final straw in that relationship?
Oh, he had been with many, many women, and he said he was going to get help. And there was a couple months time period where there were just some really awful interactions around women where it was really clear to me that it wasn't changing, and that it probably never would, and incredibly disrespectful to me. Just a lot of women that were around. My husband was in the public eye, my partner was in the public eye, and so there were just a few interactions with other women, and I knew that it wasn't going to change, so I left. I told him that I couldn't take it anymore, and I took my child and moved out.
Now, did he just let you fade away into the sunset with hope in your heart, or did he follow you?
No, he was really angry, and we ended up in a 2-year-long custody battle over my child. He was scared that I was going to move away, but it wasn't really about caring for my child as much as it was about control. So there was a couple of years there where we went through a custody battle. We had an interview process for who would be the better parent, and I was awarded custody.
Now, interestingly enough, in that time with the courts, the word narcissism came up. How did you draw that connection to your partner?
I'd forgotten about that I told you that. Yeah, the psychological evaluation that was done, they did what's called an MMPI. It's kind of the gold standard of personality testing, and that's done a lot in custody evaluations. And when we got the report, the reporter, psychologist, repeatedly used the word narcissism in reference to my partner, and gave examples of things that he was doing. And one of the things I remember it said is that my ex had this remarkable ability to put me down in a very subtle manner, no matter what the topic was. That was one of the things that came out of the interview process. So narcissism was used back then, and I, being so young, I got the results of the report, and what was important to me was that I got my child and that I was able to get on with my life. And that word just sort of fell flat on the floor for me. I was too young to understand the weight of that.
Well, and it's interesting how in your early years with this relationship, that word kind of came up. But as everybody stays and listens to Tiffany's story, because we're going to go to a quick break here, the thing is that word narcissism comes up again later on. So I want everybody to stay with us. We're going to be listening more to her story. And I want you to think about in your life, where can you identify in your past ways in which you could have purpose in today's life? And again, the past doesn't have to be this scary place that sucks power away from your future. You have the ability to claim your future by saying, you know what? I'm going to take the good, I'm going to take the lessons, and I'm going to evolve. And that's how you live full out. Stay with us. We're going to be coming right back after this break. It's all about identifying your purpose from your past as you strive to live full out. We'll be back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about identifying your purpose from your past. And believe it or not, the past does have the ability to have a positive influence in our life. Believe it or not, it can lead us to a place where we can pay it forward, coach, support others, and live a very purposeful life. And in fact, our inspirational guest today, Tiffany Ketterman, has had just that journey dealing with domestic violence in multiple relationships. So I'd very much like to welcome Tiffany back to the show.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for coming and sharing your story, because I know it's very courageous because it's a tough topic. In our last segment, we talked about, the first relationship you had that was very much, he was controlling you and he had his narcissistic behaviors and all of that. Beyond that relationship, thankfully, you did have a period of time where you had a healthy relationship. But then after the healthy relationship, you found yourself once again, kind of like Alice in Wonderland, right? Landing in another abusive relationship. With that second abusive relationship, when did you notice it starting to switch?
So this relationship was very, very different. My first relationship was not violent or angry or controlling. People will often use the term covert narcissism, and it's very much more about sucking in all of the attention. And this relationship, the second relationship, I got really swept off my feet, romanced to the hilt, and a whirlwind romance, and got married. And right after we got married, we were moving. He was military, and we had to give away our dogs. I had two basset hounds that I'd had for a very long time, and we gave them away. And that day, I was crying, of course, because I was sad about giving away my dogs. And we got to the end of the day, and I was in the office, and he burst into the room screaming and calling out all sorts of names, telling me that he was going to go back to where the dogs were and kill them. Just a very violent interaction, just inches from my face. And that was right after we got married, the first time I'd ever seen violence like that. And I was floored and frozen.
Well, and it's interesting with this relationship because that was kind of, shock value, right? And it kind of put you in your place. But as you reached out to therapists and people for support, they kind of advised you that maybe he had post-traumatic stress from his job. And it's kind of like that country song, Stand By Your Man, right? Tammy Wynette. Yeah. You thought, you know what? I'm going to stand by him. This will get better. But did it get better, or how much worse did it get?
It got progressively worse over about 5 years, to the point where I had been in cars going the wrong way on the freeway, stuff thrown at me. By the end, he was threatening to kill me, and I had to get a restraining order.
Now, it's one thing if you're being abused by him emotionally, physically, but it's another thing because you have your daughter. Were you fearful of her life as well?
No, and other people who've been through domestic violence will relate to this. You know what the pattern is with your partner. He knew where the line was, and he really didn't cross that with my daughter. The abuse really happened mostly with me.
And the interesting thing is there's patterns to abuse, right? Mm-hmm. If you look back at your childhood, you were bullied by some of your brothers, you didn't feel like you had a voice. Then you enter that first relationship where you're controlled, and that's where you really learn about narcissism. And interestingly enough, as you started to dig in this second abusive relationship, that word narcissism came up again. Can you explain to us how?
Oh, yeah. By then the internet was this is 11 years ago now, so the internet was coming about, and there was a website called Love Fraud, and I was just looking up, trying to figure out what was wrong with my husband, because it started to be clear to me that it wasn't PTSD, and at the time I was not a counselor. I didn't know what was going on. But I was looking up symptoms on the internet and found the word narcissism and also sociopathy, and those really struck home and kind of blew my mind at the time. And those absolutely hit my situation.
Exactly. And everybody who's in a domestic situation where it's violent or the person is threatening that they're going to kill them, they always wonder if that day is going to come where this is it. And you had that moment. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, I had gotten a restraining order. He had been very erratic and violent and unpredictable, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And so the military did intervene and took him off the base, or put him on the base. We lived in a house off the base, and he broke into the house. My daughter was there. She was graduated from high school by that time. But he broke into the house, and my daughter was in her room on one side of the house, and I was in my bedroom on the other side, and he broke into the bedroom, I tried to get into the bathroom and get away from him. He broke into the bathroom, and he was inches from my face telling me he was going to kill me. And there was a moment where I thought, there's a hairline here, and it by the look in his eyes, I believed it could happen. And that was it. So,
how did you finally escape that relationship? Because I think that's the question that so many people, struggle with is, I don't want to lose my children. I can't leave. They control the money. How did you finally break that off?
Oh, boy. Well, here's the thing I tell people in therapy, and it's scary to hear, but it's absolutely true, and it's what any person would go through. I literally walked into a counseling office. I had gotten the restraining order, but I did not want to go. I still loved him, and at that point I was trauma bonded, and that word is really important in domestic violence. I walked into a counseling office, and I said, I need help. My husband is threatening to kill me, and I can't leave. I don't know how to leave. And at that point, again, it was trauma bonding. And so I had to do a lot of internal work to really let go and to get my life back. And in the process, I lost my home, I lost my job, I lost pretty much everything.
And you finally got a lifetime restraining order, so he could not keep threatening you. Do you look over your shoulder, though? Or at what point did you finally stop doing that?
I got angry. The psychologist that looked into our case in the military told me after interviewing my husband that I needed to change my name and go into hiding and run away, and that I should live the rest of my life in fear. And there was a part in me deep inside that got angry and said, I'll be darned if that's the way I'm going to live. I just can't live that way. So I started making choices, and that's not to say I wasn't terrified, but I made choices for me, just that I was going to go on with my life. And that year, actually, I started just by going to the gym every day, and then it became the gym twice a day. And then I ran my first 5K, and then I ran my first 10K. And doing that helped me to find that strong place in myself.
And I'm curious, having two, you did have one healthy relationship in between the two abusive ones, but how do you keep hope in your heart that love is good? Because I would be, some people might be fearful of, I'm done getting married, I'm done falling in love, I'm just going to be solo.
I would say that love has transformed in my life. Like I referred to earlier, I think as children, especially little girls, are brought up on the idea of Cinderella, and that does a serious disservice to us as women and what we're capable of and what's possible in life. I have 3 grandchildren now, and they are the loves of my life. I have my clients in my private practice. Love is such a bigger thing than just loving a partner. In fact, that's probably the tiniest part of love in my experience. So learning through the transformation of what has happened has expanded my life exponentially beyond a relationship is what is love.
Well, that aligns perfectly with our theme today of identifying your purpose through your past. And as we just round out the last minute here in this interview, what does living full out mean to you today?
I currently am running a private practice, and I've found my purpose. I can't explain it better than that, to just say that all of the experience I've been through has brought me to knowing when joy is happening, knowing how to grab hold of it, appreciating life for all that it is, and just moving beyond. The domestic violence is such a small part of my history now and of who I am. It made me who I am, but it's not part of my everyday life anymore. So
you know what? I love that. Congratulations to you. You just took that power back. You kept your name. Snap, snap, right? Moving on.
Yep.
I like it. You're my kind of gal, Tiffany. Thank you so much for being on today's show. And sensitive topic, but yet You show that it is possible to get out of that crisis mode. Thank you so much for being, on our show today.
You bet.
Thank you. And for everybody listening today, just like Tiffany, you can identify your purpose from your past. And if you need help on that, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. That's what we do. That's what we're here for, is to help guide you and look backwards so that we can look forwards in a positive way. Also, if you have an inspirational story, reach out to us. Same email, connect@livingfullout.com. Let us know what tragedy, what crisis, what disability you manage and struggle with. We would perhaps have you on the show as a guest so that you too can empower our audience. So we're going to be coming right back, taking your calls. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and it's all about identifying your purpose from your past. We will be right back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're going to jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Have you ever lost a cat? And have you ever wanted to get your cat back after you lost it? I'm Andrew Hoffman. I invented the Lost Cat Magnet. Just turn it on and lost cats stick to it. Just listen to one satisfied cat. That's proof. You should invent stuff too. But remember, don't do a Lost Cat Magnet.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation, and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care, people sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
To identify your purpose from your past, you want to look backwards and look at times that you survived. And how did you do that? Who were the supporters in your life? What resources did you turn to? And then fast forward in your life and look at other people that you can bring that same support to and offer similar resources. That's how you live full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we've been talking about identifying your purpose through your past. And I hope that over hearing Tiffany's stories and other callers who have been, giving great questions, that you've been able to identify places in your life where you survived and you grew taller, you got wiser. And that's really what the game of life is all about. It's about turning that page, writing your life story. And so sometimes it's good to take a pause, take an assessment, call into a show like this so that we can really look backwards and see that growth. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. It's Richard.
Hi,
Tyler.
Richard.
Sorry.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can I help you today?
I just kind of had a question about how I could take more initiative in things I do here at home or something of that sort.
So where do you feel like you're lacking? Is it because you feel it internally, like you're not doing enough? Or do you feel like other people kind of call you out or are negative about it?
I mean, it's a little bit of a mixture of both, but it's kind of more of other people sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they say you're not doing enough, or come on, get up, or let's go, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that they're in any sliver of a way right? Do they have any substance to what they're saying?
I mean, to be honest, sometimes to a certain extent, I'll kind of brush things off a little longer than I anticipate or do.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had somebody say, I'm going to call you right back, but they don't call you back right away?
Honestly, yeah. I've lost count a couple times.
Okay. But oftentimes, sometimes people say, oh, I got to take this call. I'll call you right back. And when that person doesn't call back, the other person thinks they're calling back, and they don't call back. Or when someone says, yeah, let's do lunch. Let's meet at 1. And they show up at 1:15, or they consistently show up late. The thing is time, right? And whether you're operating at your own speed, and when you're doing your own stuff in a day, if you're doing your own laundry, well, you decide when you want to do it, right? If you're doing your own errands, you set the pace for that. But when we're dealing with coworkers, when we're dealing with intimate relationships or family, now there's multiple people. And we have to be aware of the other person's timing too. So there's a balance. There's going to be some times where that person might not be in the right. They might not. They might say, oh, get up, let's go do something. But you know what? Sunday, Saturday, if you don't have to do anything, you shouldn't have to, right? But what if you told that person that you were going to do something with them and delay, you made a promise. So you have to honor that. Do you see what I'm saying? So it kind of...
They'll probably end up thinking that oh, they're never going to do this.
You want to be a person of your word. That's all it comes down to. So again, when it's something that you're doing and you alone and Aaron, whatever, then you can be in and out of integrity with yourself as much as you want, right? How many people say I'm on a diet yet eat the wrong thing, right? But when you say that you're going to help someone, when you say you're going to call them back, when you say you're going to meet them for lunch, when you say you're going to do something on a certain Saturday or Sunday, then you want to show up for that person. Because when you show up for that person, you tell them, hey, you mean something to me. I value your time. You can count on me. So there's a lot that happens in life with words that are not said based upon actions. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So think about that, okay? And I want you to surprise somebody who has called you out recently, who maybe feels as though you're letting them down. I want you to show them that you can be on time, that you can be somebody they can count on. Surprise somebody this week. Show up early. Call them early, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in, and we'll be wishing you all the best, okay?
All righty.
All right. And for everybody listening today, I hope that you've been able to identify, looking backwards, it could just be yesterday, it could be your childhood, identifying how you've grown, what you've learned, how you survived, and then looking forward saying, you know what, I'm going to take those skills and apply it to my career, apply it to my future relationships. I'm going to do better. I'm going to be better. That is what it's all about. Now, if you want to hear the show again, make sure to go to livingfullout.com. Again, you can check us out in the app stores. Just look for Living Full Out Radio or on Alexa. We just want to make sure that you are supported every day. And the entire Living Full Out family, thanks you for listening. We got Rich and Gio and Alyssa and, oh my gosh, Caleb, so many people. Until we see you on the next show, here's to you living your life full out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.